When you hear the word Dubai, you think skyscrapers, fancy cars, people in veils, luxurious life, and probably a vacation to this magical spot. You're quite right, it is wonderful and fancy. But there is another part to the story of Emirates, and this is what you're here for. Without further ado, let's find out. It is in the Middle East. Yeah, you guessed it right. If you open your map, you will see enough desert. It is in a very strategic location slightly south to the Strait of Hormuz, a vital transit point of world's crude oil. It shares a 530-kilometer, around 330-mile border with Saudi Arabia on the west, south, and southeast, and a 450-kilometer, around 280-mile border with Oman on the southeast and northeast. The land border with Qatar in Khor al-Adid area is about 19 kilometers, around 12 miles, in the northwest. However, it is a source of ongoing dispute, a dispute of many between the neighbors. Speaking of disputes, after the departure of the English troops from the United Arab Emirates in 1971, Iran claimed the islands of Abu Musa, the Greater Thumb, and the Lesser Thumb, located in the Persian Gulf between Iran and the Emirates. And of course, we're not going to mention disputes without mentioning the big brother, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The government of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates signed the Treaty of Jeddah in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on August 21, 1974. Between Faisal of Saudi Arabia and Sheikh Zayed, apparently ending a long-running boundary dispute. But according to the Emirates, the dispute has not been settled due to the discrepancies between the oral agreement before the treaty signing and the final text of the treaty itself. According to the Emirates, the government did not notice this discrepancy until 1975 as a result of the absence of lawyers, technicians, and geographers on its negotiation team. The United Arab Emirates has attempted to bring Saudi Arabia back to the negotiation table, but they couldn't find any success. The main point of dispute is the Shaiba oil field, which produces around 500,000 barrels of oil a day. It is a typical Middle Eastern flag, with green, white, black, and red. Green represents love, joy, and prosperity. Black represents the defeat of enemies and strength of mind. Vertically on the left side of the flag there is red, which represents courage and bravery of the people. And of course in the middle you can see white, which represents peace, kinda. December 1971, the flag was used for the first time. Sheikh Zayed was the first to hoist the flag. There is another version of the flag with a falcon on it, and only the president can raise it. Alright, let me put it out this way. It is freaking hot in the summer, especially in July and August, with average maximum temperature of 45 degrees Celsius, around 113 Fahrenheit. Yeah, if you're not used to it, you will lose your mind. It has warm winters. The climate in the Emirates is also characterized by frequent sandstorms. These typically occur over the summer and during periods of seasonal change, particularly as winter moves into spring. On the coastal plain in Al-Hajar Mountains, temperatures are considerably lower as a result of increased elevation. Average minimum temperatures in January and February are between 10 and 14 degrees Celsius, around 50 and 57 degrees Fahrenheit. The average annual rainfall in the coastal area is less than 4.7 inches, but in some mountain areas, annual rainfall often reaches 13.8 inches. On December 28, 2004, there was snow recorded in the Emirates for the first time. Yes, snow in the Emirates. In the Jebel Jais mountain cluster in Ras Al Khaimah. A few years later, there were more sightings of snow and hail. The Jebel Jais mountain cluster has experienced snow only twice since records began. The United Arab Emirates is a federal constitutional monarchy made up from a federation of 7 hereditary tribal monarchy-style political system called sheikdoms. It is governed by a federal supreme council made up of the ruling sheikhs of Abu Dhabi, Ajman, Fujairah, Sharjah, Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, and Al Quwain. All responsibilities not granted to the national government are reserved to the individual emirate. A percentage of revenues from each emirate is allocated to the emirate's central budget. The United Arab Emirates uses the title Sheikh instead of Emir to refer to the rulers of individual emirates. The title is used due to the Sheikhdom-styled governing system in adherence to the culture of tribes of Arabia, where Sheikh means leader, elder, or the tribal chief of the clan who partakes in shared decision-making with his followers. The president and the prime minister are elected by the Federal Supreme Council. Usually a sheikh from Abu Dhabi holds the presidency, and a sheikh from Dubai the prime ministership. All prime ministers but one have served concurrently as vice presidents. Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan is the United Arab Emirates' founding father and widely accredited for unifying the 7 emirates into one country. He was the Emirates' first president from the nation's founding until his death on November 2, 2004. On the following day, the Federal Supreme Council elected his son, Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, to the post. The Emirates has extensive diplomatic and commercial relations with other countries. They are so powerful, so rich, and so respected in the Middle East. They're huge. It plays a significant role in OPEC and the UN, and one of the founding members of the Gulf Cooperation Council. One of the main anchors of the Emirates' foreign policy has been building cooperation-based relations with all countries of the world. Substantial development assistance has increased the UAE stature among recipient states. Most of this foreign aid, in excess of $15 billion, has been to Arab and Muslim countries. The Emirates maintain strong relations with Egypt, one of the main players and the most powerful military in the Middle East. The Emirates is the largest Middle Eastern investor in Egypt. Also with Pakistan, which was the first country to formally recognize the Emirates upon its formation. They share strong diplomatic and economic ties. However, the largest foreign presence in the Emirates comes from Pakistan's #1 adversarious neighbors, India. The Emirates loves China, but it is not the same case with Iran because of the islands, as I mentioned earlier. The Emirates also has a long and a close relationship with the UK and Germany, and many European nationals reside in the Emirates. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair serves as a funded advisor to the Mubadala Development Company, a wholly owned investment vehicle of the government of Abu Dhabi. The Emirates and the United States enjoy very close strategic ties. The Emirates has been described as the United States' best counterterrorism ally in the Gulf by Richard A. Clarke, the U.S. National Security Advisor and counterterrorism expert. The U.S. maintains 3 military bases in the Emirates. The Emirates is the only country in the Middle East which has a U.S. border pre-clearance that is staffed and operated by U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers. United Arab Emirates spends more than any other country in the world to influence the US policy and shape domestic debates. In its dispute with the United States, Iran has repeatedly threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil trade route. Therefore, in July 2012, the United Arab Emirates began operating a key overland oil pipeline, which bypasses the Strait of Hormuz in order to mitigate any consequences of the Iranian shut-off. In August 2020, the Emirates and Israel reached a historic Israel-United Arab Emirates peace agreement to lead towards full normalization of relations between the two countries. In September, security experts in Israel raised concerns regarding the deal, which was paving way for the Trump administration's proposed sale of the F-35 stealth fighter jets and other sophisticated weaponry to the Emirates. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also opposed the sale of the fighter jets, stating that Israel's position on the Middle Eastern states acquiring such high-end weapons did not change. The establishment of formal diplomatic relations between the two countries was said to be the result, most recently, of cooperation and talks between the Emirates' National Security Advisor Tahnoun bin Zayed Al Nahyan and Yossi Cohen, the head of the Israel's Mossad. The United Arab Emirates military force was formed in 1971. Although initially small in numbers, the Emirates armed forces have grown significantly over the years and are presently equipped with some of the most modern weapon systems, purchased from a variety of Western military advanced countries, mainly France, the US, and the UK. Some of the Emirates' military deployments include an infantry battalion to the United Nations forces in Somalia in 1993. The 35th Mechanized Infantry Battalion to Kosovo, a regiment to Kuwait during the Iraq War, demining operations in Lebanon, Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. The Emirates intervened in the Libyan civil war in support of General Khalifa Haftar's Libyan National Army in its conflict with the internationally recognized Government of National Accord. Al Jazeera reported that the Emirates has, by some estimates, carried out as many as 850 strikes in support of Haftar since he launched his assault on Tripoli in 2019. The Emirates has begun production of greater amounts of military equipment in a bid to reduce foreign dependence and help with national industrialization. The Emirates introduced a mandatory military service for adult males since 2014 for 16 months to expand its reserve force. The highest loss of life in the history of the Emirati military occurred on Friday, September 4, 2015, in which 52 soldiers were killed in Marib area of central Yemen by a Tochka missile, which targeted a weapons cache and caused a large explosion. If you are planning a visit to the Emirates anytime soon, please consider the following cases if you don't want to get into trouble. Adultery, premarital sex, alcohol consumption are punishable by flogging in the Emirates. Verbal abuse pertaining a person's honor is punishable by 80 lashes. In 2014, an expatriate in Abu Dhabi was sentenced to 10 years in prison and 80 lashes after alcohol consumption and raping a toddler. Illicit sex is sometimes penalized by 60 lashes. In October 2013, a Filipino housemaid was sentenced to 100 lashes for illegitimate pregnancy. Drunk driving is strictly illegal and punishable by 80 lashes. Premarital sex is punishable by 100 lashes. Stoning is a legal punishment in the Emirates. In May 2014, an Asian housemaid was sentenced to death by stoning in Abu Dhabi. It is illegal for Muslim women to marry non-Muslims. Kissing in public is illegal and can result in deportation. A new federal law in the Emirates prohibits swearing in WhatsApp and penalizes swearing by 250,000 Emirati dirhams, fine and imprisonment. Homosexuality is illegal and is a capital offense in the Emirates. In 2013, an Emirati man was on trial for being accused of a gay handshake. Apostasy is a crime punishable by death. Expatriates involved in insulting Islam are liable for deportation. The Emirates has developed from a juxtaposition of Bedouin tribes to one of the world's most wealthy states in only about 50 years. Economic growth has been impressive and steady throughout the history of this young confederation of Emirates, with brief periods of recessions only. Since its independence in 1971, the Emirates economy has grown by nearly 231 times to 1.45 trillion Emirati dirham in 2013. The non-oil trade has grown to 1.2 trillion Emirati dirham, a growth by around 28 times from 1981 to 2012, backed by the world's 7th largest oil deposits. To the considerate investment combined with decided economic liberalism and firm government control, the Emirates has seen their real GDP more than triple in the last 4 decades. Nowadays, the Emirates is one of the world's richest countries with GDP per capita almost 80% higher than the OECD average. As impressive as economic growth has been in the United Arab Emirates, the total population has increased from just 550,000 in 1971 to close to 10 million in 2018. This growth is mainly due to the influx of foreign workers into the country, making the national population a minority. The United Arab Emirates features a unique labor market system in which residence in the United Arab Emirates is conditional on a stringent visa rules. This system is a major advantage in terms of macroeconomic stability, as labor supply adjusts quickly to demand throughout the economic business cycles. This allows the government to keep unemployment in the country on a very low level of less than 3%, and it also gives the government more leeway in terms of macroeconomic policies, where other governments often need to make trade-offs between fighting unemployment and fighting inflation. Tourism acts as a growth sector for the entire Emirati economy. Dubai is the top tourism destination in the Middle East, according to the Manual MasterCard Global Destination Cities Index. Dubai is the fifth most popular tourism destination in the world. Dubai holds up to 66% shares of the Emirates tourism economy, with Abu Dhabi having 16% and Sharjah by 10%. Dubai welcomed 10 million tourists in 2013. The United Arab Emirates has the most advanced and developed infrastructure in the region. Since the 1980s, the Emirates has been spending billions of dollars on infrastructure. These developments are particularly evident in the larger Emirates of Abu Dhabi and Dubai. The Northern Emirates are rapidly following suit, providing major incentives for developers of residential and commercial property. The traditional food of the Emirates has always been rice, fish, and meat. The people of the United Arab Emirates have adopted most of their foods from other West and South Asian countries, including Iran, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, India, and Oman. Seafood has always been the mainstay of the Emirati diet for centuries. Meat and rice are other staple foods, with lamb and mutton preferred to goat and beef. Popular beverages are coffee and tea, which can be complemented with cardamom, saffron, or mint to give them a distinctive flavor. Popular culture Emirati dishes include sarid, makbous, khamir, and jibab bread, among others, while lugaymat is a famous Emirati dessert. With the influence of Western culture, fast food has become very popular among young people, to the extent that campaigns have been held to highlight the dangers of fast food excesses. Alcohol is allowed to be served only in hotel, restaurants, and bars. All nightclubs are permitted to sell alcohol. Specific supermarkets may sell alcohol, but these products are sold in separate sections. Likewise, pork, which is haram or not permitted for Muslims, is sold in separate sections in all major supermarkets. Note that alcohol may be consumed. It is illegal to be intoxicated in public or drive a motor vehicle with any trace of alcohol in the blood. According to an estimate by the World Bank, the United Arab Emirates population in 2018 stands at 9.54 million. Expatriates and immigrants account for 88.52%, while Emiratis make up the remaining 11.48%. This unique imbalance is due to the country's exceptionally high net migration rate of 21.71%, which is the world's highest. The United Arab Emirates citizenship is very difficult to obtain other than by filiation and only granted under very very special circumstances. Only 1.4 million inhabitants are citizens. The Emirates is ethnically diverse. The 5 most populous nationalities in the Emirates of Dubai, Sharjah, and Ajman are Indians with 25%, Pakistanis 12%, Emiratis 9%, Bangladeshi 7%, and Filipinos by 5%. Expatriates from Europe, Australia, Northern America, and Latin America make up 500,000 of the population. More than 100,000 British nationals live in the country. The rest of the population are from other Arab states. About 88% of the population of the United Arab Emirates is urban. The average life expectancy was 76.7 years in 2012, higher than for any other Arab country, while a male to female sex ratio of 2.2 males for each female in the total population and 2.75 to 1 for the 15 to 65 age group. The United Arab Emirates gender imbalance is second highest in the world after Qatar. Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, and a subscription to the channel would be incredible. See you in the next one.